Welcome to Biodiversity Matters, a webinar series on biodiversity, human health, and participatory biodiversity conservation. In line with this year's Environment Month celebration, the Philippines Biodiversity Conservation Foundation, or PhilBio, is giving you an opportunity to understand the importance of maintaining our biodiversity in finding solutions to our current and future problems. Gain access to experts, and hear about their exciting researches and projects that are relevant and will change the way you think about biodiversity as well as its impacts on our overall health. Biodiversity Matters, the webinar series, is hosted by PhilBio in partnership with the Provincial Environment Management Office, PEMO of Negros Occidental, Department of Environment and Natural Resources, DENR Region 7, and DENR Community Environment and Natural Resources Office, Bago City. Also, the Southeast Asian Bat Conservation Research Unit, or CBCRU. We will be streaming live every 3 p.m. from June 16 to 20 at the official Facebook pages of PhilBio, PEMO, and DNR Senro Bago City. We would like to take this opportunity for the amazing and overwhelming response that we gathered from you. As of today, we gathered 2,185 registrants. That's so amazing! From 17 countries, including Thailand, Malaysia, Australia, United Kingdom, United States of America, New Zealand, and Iraq. We are also represented in 65 provinces and 37 cities here in the Philippines. Majority of these participants come from Negros Occidental, Cebu, Cavite, Quezon City, and Manila. But I know you're all hyped up and excited to hear some interesting research today. But before that, let me tell you how you can talk to us during this webinar. Questions during this session can be written down in the comment section below, and these will be answered after the talk. We will also be linking the evaluation sheets after the presentation where you can rate the speaker and the moderator. So our session for today is biodiversity, more variety, better society. The one that's gonna talk about this is a true blue Cebuano that took up his master's degree in applied ecology and conservation in University of East Anglia in UK. With a fellowship grant from Ford International Fellowship Program, he conducted the first ecological study on small hawk owls in Asia. Following this, he received recognition from DENR BMB and the Foundation of the Philippine Environment for discovering new species of owls in the Philippines. He is trained under the Wetlands Trust UK in bird handling, ringing, and flagging. With his expertise, he is a member of several wildlife conservation-related organizations, including the Hornbill Species Specialist Group, World Owl Trust UK, Southeast Asian Bat Conservation Research Unit. Currently, he is our Field Operations Manager in PhilBio that is tirelessly and passionately working on conservation biology, wildlife ecology, biodiversity awareness, and capacity building. He is also known to many of us as Sir Gudo. Let us all welcome Godfrey Hakasalam. So we have seen that the comment section is already exploding with greetings from different partners, students, teachers. We are very, very excited to talk to you until Saturday. And I hope that you will learn a thing or two. And after this, you will really understand why biodiversity matters, right? So keep your comments coming. And we would like to acknowledge some people that are already here. We have Dr. Peter Pelser from New Zealand. Hi. Uh, Also, we have representative from the Capiz province of Capiz, Dr. Harold Ortiz. Good afternoon to you. Also, we have here from the Pemon Negros Occidental, our very reliable partner, DNR Senro Bago. Good afternoon to you. And also those who are from other countries. We have participants from Jordan. All right. So please, we are encouraging you to be participative on this. Don't hesitate if you have any comments and suggestions to please insert them in the comment section below, because this will be surely helpful for us to better deliver this to you. We have until Saturday. So also, if you have not yet registered, please do click the registration link provided in our official Facebook page so that for the certificates. I know you've been asking for the certificate, so please, if you want to get a certificate, please do register and make sure that your names are written correctly, okay? Okay, we are going to stand by for now and we are going to start exactly at 3 p.m. So our speaker for today's session, Biodiversity, More Variety, Better Society, is a true blue Cebuano. He took up his master's degree in applied ecology and conservation in the University of East Anglia in UK. With a fellowship grant from Ford International Fellowship Program, he pioneered the first ecological study on small hawk owls in Asia. Following this, he received recognition from DENR BNB and the foundation for the Philippine environment for discovering new species of owls in the Philippines. He is trained under the Wetlands Trust UK in bird handling, ringing, and flagging. With his expertise, he is an active member of several wildlife conservation related organizations, including the Hornbill Species Specialist Group, World Owl Trust UK, and the Southeast Asian Bat Conservation Research Unit, or CBCRU. Currently, he is our field's operation manager in PhilBio, that is tirelessly and passionately working on conservation biology, biodiversity awareness, conservation, and capacity building. He is known to many of us as Sir Godot. Let us all welcome Godfrey Hakosalam.
Okay, good afternoon. Um, Good afternoon to our viewers from the Philippines and abroad. I will be talking about biodiversity, more variety, better society. So we all know that biodiversity is variety of life, and biodiversity is not just species. It's also defined as variety of life on Earth, variability of living organism, refers to diversity within species, and between different ecosystems. So biodiversity is just that web is also part of the web of life. It's a complex web of life within land and water. It includes microorganisms, bacteria, to plants, to animals, and all of these things are interconnected. We can find biodiversity in variety of habitats, forests, wetlands, we have oceans, corals, and all these are interconnected between each other, between genes, between species, between populations, and between different ecosystems. There are three levels of biodiversity. We have genetic diversity, we have species diversity, as well as ecosystems diversity. And why biodiversity is important to us? There are several importance for biodiversity. This is the wealth of living wealth of Earth. This is where we get our daily needs, food we use in the office. We have millions of Filipinos depends on nature. We are highly dependent on biological diversity. Products and services, majority of our medicines are for coming from nature. Many of the developing countries are dependent on traditional medicines. So if we're looking at this time of crisis, biodiversity is an important health indicator. It is a barometer of environmental health. It provides warning on the stability and healthiness of Earth. And if we're looking at greater variety of species, the healthier the biosphere are. We have different variety. We have lots of species. This is our national pride, like the Philippine eagle. We look at the countries with high biodiversity. Look at Philippines is one of the top countries with high biodiversity. If we look at, we're ranked number 4 with countries in the earth with most biodiverse countries. And we are also one of the mega diversity country in the whole world. So why we are chosen as one of the mega diversity countries in the whole world? Looking at this, there's a study conducted by BirdLife International. Philippines is one of the urgent countries in terms of bird conservation. And if we look at which country has high bird diversity, Luzon is Philippines is represented by lowland foothills, Mindoro, and Negros, and the other are countries. But in the Philippines, we were represented by three main group of islands. There's also another study looking at number of species, endemic and threatened species, and Philippines is one of the top 10. And if we look at Philippines, we have at least 86 species or probably more. We have at least 16 or 17 critically endangered right now, 29 endangered species, 41 vulnerable species. And if we're looking at critically endangered plus endangered, we rank number 2. If we're looking at critically endangered, endemic plus endangered, we rank number 1. We rank number 1 in the whole world. So if we look at the diversity of species based on terrestrial taxa in the Philippines, birds, we have at least 729 species, 19 species all in all, with at least 261 endemic species. For reptiles, we have at least 374 individual species and at least 196 endemic. For mammals, we have 215 and at least 125 endemic. And then for amphibians, we have 118 species with at least 96 endemic species all in all. We have several threatened species as well for birds. And for IUCN and DENR 29, that's 2019-09, we have at least a total of 135 threatened species for birds and 151 threatened species for DAO DNR 2019. For reptiles and amphibians, we have 32 for amphibians and 23 for DNR DAO. And then for mammals, we have 49 for IUCN and 33 for DNR DAO. And for reptiles, we have at least 21 and 14 for DNR DAO. Why Philippines is, why high biodiversity? We have high biodiversity. We have high percentage of unique species, and we have high degree, despite the unique species, we have high degrees of threats. So what makes Philippines special? What makes Philippines special? So we have several species like this. This is the species of Raclesia, found all over the Philippines except Palawan, Mindoro, the Central Visayas region. We have more Raclesia species in Luzon rather than in other areas. And then Mindanao has 4 species. We also have orchids. We have lots of orchids found all over the country. And there are several orchid species that endemic and unique to each island. We have this species of forest frog endemic to the Philippines, except Palawan. So we have this unique species. If you go to the forest every in the evening and you hear the call, that's the call of a frog. We have several endemic species in each of several islands. This is another species of forest frog. It's a cave wrinkle forest frog. I'll check my audio in a while. Sorry. How about my audio? Is it okay? So yeah. So yes, we have another endemic species. Sorry for that. We have another species, an endemic species of Gigantes Island, one of the major tourist destinations in Iloilo province. This is the Gigantes wrinkled ground frog. It's a critically endangered species. This is one of the only critically endangered species in the Philippines of frog. We have the Macrygorai's river toad. This is an endemic species for Mindanao, which only found in several river system, clean rivers, so which means rivers within forest of Mindanao. We have another species of small frog endemic in Camiguin Island. So this is the Camiguin cross frog. This is a species you can find only in the forest of Camiguin. Another species of Busuanga jungle toad. This is a unique species endemic only to Palawan region. In central Palawan and the northern Palawan. This is vulnerable. This is a common species. I think everybody can recognize this species. This is Coleto. In the Visayas area is Saling. This is found all over the country except Palawan. So common on all other islands in the Philippines. So if you look at owls, we have variety of owls, hawk owls or buboes. So before, this species is only one species, but based on the studies we conducted, right now we have 7 species from different islands in the Philippines. One endemic from Mindoro, the Mindoro hawk owl, the Camiguin hawk owl, and Cebu hawk owl. This is the new species recognized in 2012. The Sulu hawk owl from Sulu, the Mindanao hawk owl from the bigger Mindanao, including Basilan, Romblon hawk owl in Romblon, group of islands, and the Luzon hawk owl. This is more common from Luzon, Bohol, Samar, Leyte, Siquijor, Negros, and Panay. So this is the group of owls that's separated into several species. So another common species, alimukon. So we call this alimukon in Bisaya. We have formerly 1 species, now we have 3 species from Luzon, the white-eared brown dove. We have buff-eared brown dove for West Visayas, including Masbate. And we have the short-billed brown dove for the Mindanao, including Bohol, Samar, Leyte, and Siquijor. We have another species of hawk owl, the Philippine hawk owl, formerly Philippine hawk owl. Now it's 2 species. The North Philippine hawk owl is for Luzon, and the South Philippines hawk owl or Pinker's hawk eagle, from Bohol for Visayas, Eastern Visayas, Mindanao, Negros, and Panay. These are vulnerable species and endangered for IUCN. Another cute species of indigo-banded kingfisher. Formerly, it's 1 species, now it's separated into 2. The northern indigo-banded kingfisher and the southern indigo-banded kingfisher for Negros, Panay, and Cebu. Probably this is extinct in Cebu. And then the northern indigo-banded is in Luzon. We have striped bubblers. This is quite unique. This species is important in higher elevation forest. So we have 1 endemic species for Panay, the Panay striped bubbler. We have found in central Panay Mountain, particularly in Mount Majaas. We have the Negros striped bubbler for Negros, found only in Mount Canlaon and Mount Talinis. We have the Palawan striped bubbler in the higher elevation of Palawan, particularly Mount Matingalingahan Range. This is another bubbler, unique, quite impressive color, the plain temple bubbler, only endemic for West Visayas, Negros, and Panay, and represented by 2 subspecies, the Negros subspecies, and the Panay is a potentially new subspecies. This is the pride of Cebu, the endemic black shama, Cebu black shama, is found in several localities in Cebu, particularly in Nogas. Um, we have Bolhoon, Dalagete, Alcoy, uh, Alegria, and the areas in Cebu where there are still remaining pocket in forest. We have this species, I think you are familiar with this species, the talking myna or common hill myna. So this is found only in Palawan, also found in Southeast Asia. This is commonly traded species of talking myna or hill myna because it can speak if trading this species. This is another species of brown dove, Tawi-Tawi brown dove, endemic to the island of Tawi-Tawi, critically endangered species. We have these unique bleeding heart pigeons. We have at least 5 species. We have Luzon bleeding heart in Luzon, Mindoro bleeding heart in Mindoro. We have Negros bleeding heart in West Visayas. We have the Mindanao bleeding heart pigeon in Bohol, Samar, Leyte, and Mindanao. And then we have the Sulu bleeding heart for the Sulu faunal region, the Sulu, Holo Sulu Tawi-Tawi region. We have also a unique species of hornbills. Formerly, we had only one of these larger hornbills. This is the largest hornbills we have, rufous-headed hornbill, but now it was separated based on studies conducted by Dr. J.C. Gonzalez. Right now, it's northern rufous hornbill for Luzon, and we have the southern rufous hornbill for the Bohol, Samar, Leyte, Mindanao, up to Basilan. This is a starbird, unique species and endemic for West Visayas and found only in several patches. The stronghold of this species is in the province of Antique, where the largest forest, the Central Panay Mountain, shared by Aklan, Capiz, and Antique. And then in Negros, we have only in Northern Negros Natural Park as well as Balinsasayao Twin Lakes Natural Park. This was rediscovered in Northern Negros Natural Park by the team of PhilBio in 2014. So these are critically endangered species of hornbill in the whole world. Another unique species of hornbill, a smaller one, Luzon Tarctic hornbill, endemic to Luzon. This species is vulnerable. We have the species of another endemic species of hornbill in Mindoro, the endangered Mindoro hornbill. So this is an endemic and found only in Mindoro Island. Tarsier, have you seen the tarsier? I think most of people say this is in Bohol only, but the Philippine tarsier is found in Bohol, Samar, Leyte, Dinagat, Siargao, Mindanao, mainland Mindanao, as well as Basilan. So the correct scientific name, this is Tarsius serecta. This is the correct scientific name. Another species of mammals found in Mindanao, the Philippine flying lemur, also endemic to the rest of Mindanao, including Bohol, Samar, and Leyte. This is one of the favorite prey for Philippine eagle. This is another mammal unique for Negros Panay and Sibuyan. So this is an endangered species, the Philippine shootnose fruit bat. This is fruit bat only found in several forest patches within its range, and it is endangered species. Another mammal unique for Palawan, the Palawan birded pig, vulnerable. This is found all over the Palawan group of Palawan, including the northern and southern Palawans. We have several warty pigs all over the country, including the one in Mindoro, the Visayan warty pig, and the rest of Sulu archipelago. Another beautiful bird for Palawan, this is the Palawan peacock pesa, endemic to Palawan only. So this is an endangered species for the DNR DAO, an endangered species for IUCN. This is one of the starboard for the Puerto Princesa city. This is the this is the flagship species in conservation. We also have another species. This is described in 1953. The Negros fruit dove, found only in the forest of Mount Canlaon, higher elevation forest of Mount Canlaon. Probably this also shared by Panay in the higher elevation forest in central Panay Mountain. And this species was described in 1953, and until then, nobody seen this species for a while. The only living person who saw this species in 1953 is Dr. Angel Alcala. This is a critically endangered species for the Philippines, for Negros. Another unique species, this is one of the most critically endangered species of hornbill in the whole world. So this is species is endemic to Sulu and Hulu and Tawi-Tawi. This is critically endangered species. We're supposed to do a survey for this species last month from March, but this situation stopped us from doing research. We'd like to also to take this opportunity to thank our partners for supporting us, Protect Wildlife and ASEAN Center for Biodiversity with Director Mendita Lim for supporting our research on this species. This is a star unique mammals for Mindoro. The Tamarao, the Mindoro dwarf buffalo, critically endangered mammals in the Philippines. So this is one of the largest, perhaps the largest mammals, land mammals in the country. And of course, this is the majestic great Philippine eagle, critically endangered, endemic to the Philippines from the islands of Mindanao, Samar Leyte, as well as Luzon. So this was first described in Samar Island. The first description and first collection is from Samar Island. This is critically endangered. This is one of the largest species of eagle, the second largest perhaps in the whole world. And this is the unique species of bird from my island, from my province, Cebu province. Cebu flower pecker, critically endangered species. It was discovered in 1992, and this is the discovery lead to the conservation of biodiversity in Cebu until now. This is found in Lucas Forest, where there's high encounter rates, as well as Tabunan and Dalagete Forest. You're looking at the different species in the Philippines and looking at why we have lots of endemic species, not for the island, each island, some species cannot be seen in the Philippines, only in Palawan. Why is this? What's the reason for this? This is one of the major reasons for. Before, if we look at this map, Palawan is politically part of the Philippines. But in terms of faunal region, Palawan has its own faunal region and also shared with the Sundaland faunal region. So Philippines, we have our own faunal region. This line, this is the Huxley's line. This is the invisible line separating the Palawan faunal region to the rest of the Philippines. So before, Philippines has only 5 major islands. So we have the Greater Luzon faunal region, the Mindoro faunal region, the West Visayas faunal region, the Greater Mindanao faunal region, and the Sulu faunal region. Despite this faunal region, we have several sub-regions: the Batanes group of islands, the Babuyan group, Lubang, Romblon, Tablas, Sibuyan, Siquijor, and Camiguin Islands. They have their own endemic and unique species. So we have high biodiversity, and Philippines is also identified as one of the hottest hotspots in terms of biodiversity conservation. So why we are hottest of the hotspots? Because we have lots of endemic species, but we have also less than 30% of the natural vegetation left in the whole country. So we have high species, high degrees of threats. So if we look at the forest cover for a century, like from 1990 to 2000 to 2000, so there's a lots of changes from our forest cover, from almost 70-80% forest cover left. Now, in 1999, we only have 18.3% left forest cover. And if we look at currently, we have at least 19% forest cover based on the Bureau of Forestry, DNR Bureau of Forestry. And what are the major causes of these threats? One is habitat fragmentation. Our forest is heavily fragmented. We have habitat degradation, introduction of alien species, invasive alien species. We have high pollution, environmental pollution. We have over exploitation, climate change, hunting. If you look at on this, we have several hunting groups in the country. They are hunting water birds or any birds, but despite that, despite the law, we have the Republic Act 9147. This still exists in different parts of the country. And also shout out to our partner, Sindro Bago City, for heads up for this operation. This species is collected inside a protected area, and they have a successful operation for these poachers, illegal poachers. So another threat to the biodiversity is species extinction, which is, if we look at some species with under 1,000 individuals are more vulnerable. So if we look at different species all over the world, they are highly species that to go extinct. Why? Because if we look at different vertebrates, mammals, like in the Philippines, we have mammals less than 1,000 individuals. And these species are highly dependent on different subpopulation within each range. So the more the threats, the more the extinction for this species, especially the threatened species. These are majority are threatened species. If we look at birds, so species with birds with less than 1,000, it's all vulnerable to extinction. So amphibians as well, we have several threatened species, reptiles, and then if you look at these threats, they are majority within the tropical region. So majority of the species high or extinction are within the tropical region. So major causes of extinction is destruction of habitat. There's a lot of alteration of habitats using chemical pollution, hybridization of species, especially on plants. We have over harvesting. We have lots of individuals going to hunting, especially right now. We have high incident of poaching, particularly for species, larger species of raptors in the country right now, based on report from DNR. We have displacement by introduced species. So instead of using cherry blossom or African acacia for your tree planting, you use the native species. We encourage different universities, elementary school or high school campuses to plant native trees. This will be your contribution to the Philippine Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan, as well as the Sustainable Development Goal. And then we need to control or eradicate these invasive alien species. So instead of planting cherry blossom in your area, in your campus, we need to eradicate them or control them. The Philippines also has lots of initiatives in terms of conservation. We have several laws enacted, like the Wildlife Act, the Conservation Education Act, we have the CAPE Act, we have the Clean Water Act, and then just recently we have this um, NIPAS Act. We have at least 97 important protected areas with legislation, with RAs right now in the country. Plus, there are additional Republic Act protected areas with Republic Act as like the Southern Negros in Bihulngan. That's one of the new protected area right now. We have several habitat restoration programs. We have the National Breeding Program. We have different provinces doing their restoration program. Biodiversity awareness. We would like to example one of the yearly biodiversity awareness, like the Wildlife Month Festival of the province of Negros. This is running 15 years now. This is quite effective in calling all raising the awareness of biodiversity within the island. We have market tolls. We have looking at payments for ecological services and for our restoration forest, mainstreaming biodiversity. And we'd like to congratulate BNB and Biofilm for bringing the biodiversity strategy and action plan to the local level. So this is our contribution. This is our promise to the Aichi target that we will continue to conserve biodiversity within the Sustainable Development Goal targets. Also, we have lots of on-site conservation. Aside from the protected areas created, we have on-site conservation managed by different local government units. We have also community-based conservation. We have, like, for example, our partner from Nugas Alcoy, the KMYLB, Kapunungan sa Mag-uuman sa Yutang ng Salmon sa Bulalakaw. This is a group of farmers conserving the forest of Alcoy. And also, we would like to thank our partner, Eco Exploration, for providing some help for the farmers protecting the forest, as well as our partners from North Carolina Zoo for providing some support during the pandemic in Sulu, in Tawi-Tawi Forest Rangers, the Tausi Rangers, during this time of pandemic. Thank you for all your support. What needs to be done? We need, the protected area is there already. We need to improve the protection, the system itself. Our protected areas, we have at least hundreds of protected areas. There will be talk tomorrow about protected areas. So we need to look at if our protected area management is working towards our Aichi target. So this is important as management to look at. We need to develop more local conservation area or critical habitat. We need to do more protection. Of course, this is important. We need to do ecological research. So lots of researches right now was halted because of this pandemic. Supposedly the summer period is the research period for many of the researchers, particularly in the tropical area, in the Philippines as well, was halted because of this pandemic. So despite this, we need to also continue the monitoring, biodiversity monitoring within our protected areas and wetlands. We need to implement existing laws in order to conserve biodiversity. We need to develop strategies. We have effective awareness, or we don't have effective awareness. We need to develop more effective ways to do biodiversity awareness. Local capacity building for our partners, or partners all over the country, especially within our helping teaching the communities the proper way of conservation. And also we need to enact long-term conservation strategy, like the biodiversity strategy action plan. Right now, Negros provinces, we have the West Visayas provinces, and Cebu already have their localized biodiversity strategy and action plan. This is in accordance to the Philippines Biodiversity Action Plan, and then towards the contribution to Sustainable Development Goals. we need to do more partnership. Biodiversity conservation is not just um, the government NGO, but we need everybody to work towards one goal to conserve biodiversity. So if we look at right now, we need to restore ecological balance and biodiversity throughout the Philippines or throughout the Southeast Asian region. It is really important. We need to establish more protected area or local conservation area, which these areas provides ecological services we need in our daily lives. We need to develop more habitats, different habitats within agricultural areas. We need to incorporate biodiversity. We have we need to incorporate urban biodiversity. One of the target we have is green space. So yeah, this is our contribution towards the sustainable development goal. Uh, if we have more variety, we have better society. So thank you all for listening. If you have questions, please. I would like to thank our partners and supporters through all these years they have been with us. And daghang salamat sa tanan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Godot, for that very informative presentation. Okay, so I the comment section is really a blast, no? So we have seen that you are very, very participative, and then it's just a joy to see that when you see a familiar species or a species that's from your area, you're very proud of it. So we want that kind of energy to keep on flowing. So it's very nice that I hope you all grasp the idea of how biodiverse Philippines is because of the biogeographical regions, as what Sir Godot mentioned. Philippines itself is already unique, but our islands are distinct from each other because of the set of species that it contains. Okay. However, it's just sad that there are these threats that are continuing. But it's not that we're not doing something. We are doing something and we can do more, right? So it's a collective effort, as what Sir Godot said. It's a collective effort. Conservation does not mean that it's only the government, it's only the community. It's all of us. We should all be involved because this is our biodiversity. We should be proud of it. Okay, so now let's go to our open forum. We have a lot of questions from you guys. During the registration, there are already questions gathered, and we received more than 300 questions for this topic alone. So, as much as we want to accommodate all of those questions, we cannot because we are limited of time. But do not fret, do not be sad, because we will ask Sir Godot if he can run through those questions and answer them and email it back to you. So, okay. So our first question is from Leo Donoso. Okay. Do you think the pandemic lockdown helps the stability of our biodiversity? Or is it an opportunity for more illegal wildlife collections and the like? So, sir?
Yes. If we look at right now, this is also an opportunity for our protected areas to relax. No, there's no person, there's no visitor coming in, only wildlife. Wildlife is not disturbed because of most of majority of our protected areas right now are closed to the public. So this is opportunity for our protected areas, for our forests to rest. This is also opportunity for some illegal activities. So, like in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, there's a lot of poaching happen as reported. If you heard the news earlier, like in Palau, there's high issue in Palawan right now, where some DNR was apprehended, doing their work, apprehended by police. And then also, our partner, Central Bago City, successfully entrapped illegal poachers in Mount Canlaon. So this is opportunity loss, but this is also opportunity for our species, our biodiversity to rest, to relax for a while until this pandemic is still until protected areas are closed.
Okay, so there's really two sides of this pandemic. Now there is a good side because the animals, the wildlife can relax from all the hustle, the bustle, and but also it's an opportunity to for illegal trade to progress, which is very very sad. Okay, moving on, we have I saw this in the comment section. It's very interesting. So, Sir Gudo, what is your comment on this? Comment on this that most of our species are either vulnerable or endangered. What can you say about this statement, sir?
Yeah, if we look at majority right now in the Philippines, majority of our species are endangered because of this. They lost their habitat, and some species, like especially the lowland species, they are highly threatened because we are slowly losing our lowland forest. So, if we look at the situation in the Philippines, there really um, there really has the the threat is very very high for all of these species. So if we look at Negros is one of the highest number of threatened species. Uh, we have we have southwestern Negros where there are species that see like the spotted deer visiting areas not supposed to be their real, real habitat. So majority of the species right now, our species are threatened. We need what we are going to do is that we need to protect more uh, the forest, the protected areas. It's really important to strengthen the protection. We are hoping that the uh, enforcement bureau will be pushed through in the next few months or years because it's already implement. Yeah, it's already identified as a new bureau, but we are hoping that this will strengthen the protection of biodiversity, especially in protected areas right now. So this is the solution is really to protect the forest, to become this species to not to the species to become endangered. So if we do, we can also do restoration of forest, planting more endemic native species. And it's really important. We have restoration and we have forest protection as well. So I think that's my take on that.
Okay. I agree with you, Sir Nob. Based on the presentation, also you can see that a lot of our species are indeed vulnerable, endangered, or critically endangered. But yes, it does not mean that we cannot do anything about it. No. So we can degrade its status to least concerned. We can do something about it. Not
Yeah,
diba, sir? It's
yeah,
it's let's start with ourselves first, right?
yeah,
And then it will
yeah,
radiate to
yeah.
the community.
Yeah, but if we're going to bring down from vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered to least concerned, we need to do more studies about the population. That's important thing. We need like, for example, in Cebu, we're doing the synchronized biodiversity monitoring together with DNR and province or the Siloy Watts. We need to do that more often or the hornbill count in Negros in order to look at how many species, especially the threatened endemic species, left in the wild.
Okay, so indeed, we need more studies, no, to make science-based decisions regarding our threatened species. Okay, next we have a question here from Mr. Edgardo Malabuyok. How do you ensure the safety of these species, particularly those that are threatened by human factors?
Yes, if we look at majority of our protected areas are forests, it's the human really made more damages than the natural catastrophe. So why we are having this problem right now? Because when we started during, if we look at 100 years ago, we were 100% forested, and then uh, logging came in during the American period, and then in the introduction of cash crops from Europe, like the potato, sweet potato, like that introduction of these species or root crops. So this is the agriculture coming in, and then yeah, we need to do the conservation of forest. So we need to convince all the Filipinos to protect our biodiversity, protect this wildlife. We're not saying that wildlife is more important than human. As I mentioned before, we are interconnected. These species of like the black shama in Cebu, we're using this as flagship species. If we see more black shama, we've seen the improvement of habitat of forest. Like we have more black shama in Agoy because we have more bigger forest. The forest is well protected by communities, um, and as well as other protected areas. So if we humans try to minimize all this, we can have more uh, species to thrive. So it's about us. It's not just about the government. It's everybody's call to halt the hunting or destruction of our biodiversity. So it's really our call. If we need to see the eagle in the future, it's our call to see if we want to see the tamaraw in the future. So it's human. The human factor is really important. We need to make more awareness that this biodiversity, these animals, uh, are important as indicator species. That the forest, your ecosystem, is going back to normal and providing us the usual ecological services they are provided to us.
Okay, so there is still a call for human intervention, a very important human intervention to make the conservation of our species very, very successful. So, still okay, Kapasir. We're here.
Yeah, yeah.
We have received a lot of questions, so it's very overwhelming. But I think Sir Guido is always game to answer your questions. Okay, now, oh, this is related to Mount Canlaon Natural Park. The This is from Christiana Valconcha. Hi. Um, can the Negros fruit dove be transferred or repopulated into another area? As Mount Canlaon is a volcano and it might trigger its extinction. What can you say about that, sir?
Right now, the fruit dab, we don't know. The only location for the Negros fruit dab is only Mount Canlaon. So one thing to do is to survey the higher elevation forests of Negros in order to, if this species is still present. So right now, we tried looking this species in Mount Canlaon in the last 3 years. Unfortunately, we cannot go up to more than 1,000 because of the activities of the volcano. So we are limited to lower elevation. But hopefully, the next few years, few months, it will be lifted, the 4 kilometer danger zone, to really look at um, if the species is still okay, especially in northern Negros Natural Park, higher elevation, in Mount Talinis an area in Dumaguetes in Negros Oriental, and there's also a possibility the species is also exists in higher elevation of Panay, particularly in the Central Mountain. So um, we don't know if this species still exists, but we need to increase more research. We cannot transfer the species to other areas right now because the species is unique for this species. We don't know if this species is Negros fruit dove is a single mountain endemic, but we need to do further research to look out for the species in the higher elevation forest. As Dr. Alcala mentioned, this was located around for 1,400 ASLD collected uh, individual within this elevation. So in the forest of Pula, I think this is in the city of Canlaon, that area, 1,400 elevation. That's where the discovery site of Necros Fructa. And yeah, we need to further know the current status. We need to find out for other um, look at forest, higher elevation forest. So that's right now it will remain in Mount Canlaon, uh, but we need to do more research on this species.
Okay, so yes. So for now, it's just still Mount Canlaon that is its
Yes, yeah,
known
yeah, yeah,
distribution, but it does not limit there because there are possibilities that it could also
yes,
be found into
in
other
other higher elevation.
higher elevations. So, and still, it all boils down the need to study, research,
Yes,
conduct research. You know,
yeah,
funding for research to make more conclusive or
yeah,
realistic decisions. No,
yeah.
so
It's not just short-term research, but long-term ecological research, knowing what's the important food for this bird, what are is this frugivore or is this insectivore or omnivore? So is this higher elevation or underground? So we don't know yet, but the one mentioned is this is like canopy species bird. So we need to look out in the higher elevation forest and Negros in canopy, or we need to check as recommended. We need to check the higher elevation of Panay, particularly in central Panay Mountain in Antique, Mount Manchas.
okay, so it does not end in the discovery. It needs to have continuity, right, sir?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so we are gonna entertain one more question because we are running out of time. We only have 6 minutes left. So we have here a question from Dr. Peter Palser from New Zealand. Hi, sir. So which species groups are most poorly known and therefore most difficult to protect? What do you think about?
Which species are poorly known?
Yes.
Um, I'm more familiar with the flora. So we fauna, sorry. So if we're looking at the group of plants, birds, reptiles, amphibians, the more difficult right now is like we look at the amphibians as well as the mammals. Uh, like the shrews, we really, in the Philippines right now, we have more species of really recently described um, species of, of shrew for mammals. we don't know how to do conservation if we don't know the the conservation, the status, the ecology of the species. So we need to do the ecology more study in order to have a more um, conservation, exact conservation management to do in the species. For amphibians, we need to do more studies so that we know which group of amphibians are more vulnerable and how to conserve the species. Like um, if we look at, if we look at, we have plants, we have more plants. We have at least almost 12,000 plant species. And there are unique species in its island. So we need to do more surveys, more taxonomic surveys, more ecological survey in order to conserve certain species of plants. Like in Cebu, we are doing the conservation of Cebu cinnamon tree, and we are we successfully doing conservation because we conducted several ecological studies, distribution survey of the species. So we know how to conserve the species. So we need to do more studies, identify which of the group of plants, which group of species of mammals are more vulnerable to, and in order to do, we need to do more studies in order to have a better management of each species, of each taxa. Plants with the plants, birds, which animals you are. So we need to conduct more studies and to have a better sound conservation for each taxa.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Godo, for answering a number of questions for today. So sadly, we are running out of time as much as we'd like to entertain all your interesting questions. We will have to, but don't worry, we took note. We recorded all your questions. We will send them to Sir Godo. He will try to scan through all those questions and email them back to you. So if you have not registered in the official registration link, please do click that link and then put in your details so that we can email back your we can email back the answers for your questions to you. And also, yes, the certificates. The certificates will be sent through email. So those who are in the Facebook Live, please do click that link. And don't forget to also evaluate today's session. We will use that as a basis to improve tomorrow's session. Okay, so I think it's a very, very fruitful discussion today.
Yeah,
What do you
it
think,
is.
sir?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
And it is because of you, Sir Godo, and also our very, very participative um, uh, participate, participative guests and panelists from all over the Philippines and also the world. So again, this webinar series will continue until Saturday. We will be streaming live every 3 p.m. on the Facebook pages of PEMO, PhilBio, and DNR Senro Bago City. So don't forget to register and see you tomorrow. Thank you. Have a good day.